Okay, so Deuteronomy chapter 21 today. If a slain person is found lying in the open country in the land which the Lord your God gives you to possess, and it is not known who has struck him, then your elders and your judges shall go out and measure the distance to the cities which are around the slain one. It shall be that the city which is nearest to the slain man, that is, the elders of that city, shall take a heifer of the herd, which has not been worked, and which has not pulled in a yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a valley with running water, which has not been plowed or sown, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. Then the priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near, for the Lord your God has chosen them to serve him and to bless in the name of the Lord. And every dispute and every assault shall be settled by them. All the elders of that city which is nearest to the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it. Forgive your people Israel whom you have redeemed, O Lord, and do not place the guilt of innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel. And the blood guiltiness shall be forgiven them. So you shall remove the guilt of innocent blood from your midst, when you do what is right in the eyes of the Lord. So in the event of an unsolved homicide, where the guilty party was unknown, justice could not adequately be served. However, the people closest to the event were still held responsible to deal with the crime. Breaking the neck of the heifer indicated that the crime deserved to be punished, but the hand-washing of the elders showed that, although they accepted responsibility for what had happened, they were nevertheless free from the guilt attached to the crime. Verse 10. When you go out to battle against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your hands, and you take them away captive, and see among the captives a beautiful woman, and have a desire for her, and would take her as a wife for yourself, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. So this must be referring to the outer cities from our discussion yesterday. Verse 13. She shall also remove the clothes of her captivity, and shall remain in your house, and mourn her father and mother a full month. And after that you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. It shall be, if you are not pleased with her, then you shall let her go wherever she wishes. But you shall certainly not sell her for money. You shall not mistreat her, because you have humbled her. All right, so during war, if an Israelite saw a beautiful girl amongst the people of the enemy and wanted to marry her, again in those outer regions, it was required that she stay in his house for a month, during which her troubled feelings might settle. Her mind would be reconciled to the new conditions, and she could sorrow over what had happened. 1 month was the usual mourning period for Jews, and the features of this period, such as shaving the head, trimming the nails, etc., were typical signs of grief for the Jews. This action extended to her was important to show kindness to the woman and to test the strength of the man's affection. After the 30 days, they could marry. If later he decided to divorce her based on the provisions from Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 1 through 4, he could not sell her as a slave. She was to be set completely free because you have humbled her. This phrase clearly refers to sexual activity in which the wife has fully submitted herself to her husband. It should be noted that divorce appears to have been common among the people, perhaps learned from their time in Egypt, and tolerated by Moses because of their hard hearts. Verse 15. If a man has 2 wives, the Hebrew actually says had 2 wives, inferring that one may have passed away. So carrying on in verse 15. The one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him sons. If the firstborn son belongs to the unloved, then it shall be in the day he wills what he has to his sons. He cannot make the son of the loved the firstborn before the son of the unloved, who is the firstborn. Verse 17. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved, by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. To him belongs the right of the firstborn. Again, this is likely referring to a man having had 2 marriages because of death or divorce. The issue involves the principle of the inheritance of the firstborn. The firstborn son of the man, whether from the favorite wife or not, and I don't know all the details there, was to receive the double portion of the inheritance. The father did not have the authority to transfer this right to another son. This did not apply to sons of a concubine or in cases of misconduct, which is stated in Genesis chapter 21 and 49. Verse 18. If any man has a stubborn and rebellious son who will not obey his father or his mother, and when they chastise him, he will not even listen to them, then his father and mother shall seize him, and bring him out to the elders of his city at the gateway of his hometown. They shall say to the elders of his city, "This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard." I mean, talk about shape up or ship out. Here we go. Verse 21. Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death. So you shall remove the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear of it and fear. So God is not messing around. Verse 22. If a man has committed a sin worthy of death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his corpse shall not hang all night on the tree, but you shall surely bury him on the same day. For he who is hanged is accursed of God, so that you do not defile your land, which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance. And again, during these days, separating God's people and upholding holiness had very high standards. It still does, and punishment will be brought about now on Judgment Day. But we can now be extremely grateful for Jesus and the mercy extended to us to get right with God and not have to face the great white throne judgment, which will be much, much worse than what these Israelites faced. So we got to. And the Israelites, they had their time with God face to face, and in his presence, and they should know better. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you.